In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Dear learners, today my video lesson is about poem number 2, Night Mail. I'm going to explain this poem with reference to the context. English Book 3 of Intermediate First Year is composed of 20 poems and 3 plays. My focus today is poem number 2, Night Mail, written by W.H. Auden. Besides explanation, I will discuss synonyms of difficult words and questions related to this section of paper. Before starting the poem, let me share some quotes about poetry by famous literary figures. S.T. Coleridge said about poetry, "Poetry is the best words in the best order." William Wordsworth, known as poet of nature, said about poetry that poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings recollected in tranquility. Once Dr. Johnson was questioned by his student, "Sir, what poetry is?" And he responded, "What it is not." So learners, these are some of the words said by famous literary personalities. And let's start today's lesson. Poem number 2, Night Mail, written by W.H. Auden. W.H. Auden was born in 1907 and died in 1973. He was a British poet, playwright, and author. He was one of the well-known leading poets of 20th century. W.H. Auden says, "A poet is before anything else a person who is passionately in love with language." Now, questions related to this part of the poem. The most important question is explain the following lines with reference to the context. This question carries 5 marks. Reference is of 1 mark, context again 1 mark, and explanation is of 3 marks. Reference. These lines have been taken from the poem Night Mail, written by W.H. Auden. So learners, when you are going to write down reference of the poem, you will write down the reference like this. As you can see on your screens in front of you, you will write down the name of the poem in inverted commas. And now the context. In this poem, W.H. Auden describes the journey of night mail, a railway train which travels at night and brings mail to people belonging to different sections of the society, whether they are rich, poor, shopkeeper, or the young people. Night mail continues her journey regardless of the difficulties and hindrances on her way and reaches the destination on time. She passes through fields, grassland, and climbs steep slopes by throwing steam by her sides and arrives on time. She doesn't disturb the life of the surroundings from where she passes at night time. The poet emphasizes the perseverance, punctuality, commitment, and regularity against any challenge of life. If a person is determined to achieve his aim and he remains steadfast without bothering about the hardships and hindrances in his life, he is sure to reach his destination. So this is the lesson which is given by W.H. Auden. And now the explanation, lines 1 and 2. This is the night mail crossing the border, bringing the check and the postal order. Synonyms: border means boundary, a limit. Postal order means sending money by postal service. First of all, explicit explanation of lines 1 and 2. Explicit means literal explanation, which is visible on the surface. In these lines, poet tells that night mail, a mail train, crosses the border and brings check and postal orders for the people belonging to different sections of society. She is a night mail as she travels at night and carries mail. That's why she is called night mail. Lines 3 and 4. Letters for the rich, letters for the poor, the shop at the corner, the girl next door. Explicit explanation. In these lines, the poet tells that the night mail brings letters for people belonging to different sections of society. She does not make any difference whether someone is rich or poor. She serves everyone equally. By bringing the letters, she connects people living in different parts of the country. Lines 5 and 6. And learners, when you are going to do the explanation of the lines, you will do the explanation on both levels, explicit as well as implicit, means literal and hidden. Both the explanation will be done by you. Lines 5 and 6. Pulling up Beattock, a steady climb. The gradient is against her, but she is on time. Synonyms are pull up means ascend or mount. Steady is constant or consistent. And gradient means slope or incline. Beattock is a village in Scotland. Beattock railway station is a railway station which served Beattock. It is a very high point. Now, explicit explanation. Explicit, as I've told you, it means clear cut or literal explanation. In these lines, the poet says that night mail is now climbing up the steady slope at Beattock using full force. Ascent or climb is against her as she is moving upwards. But in spite of all the difficulties, she reaches her destination on time. It shows the punctuality, regularity, and commitment of night mail. Implicit explanation. The poet wants to give us a lesson or a message that a person should be committed in his promises and duties. Whatever the difficulties and hardships are on the way towards destination, if one is determined and consistent, one is sure to reach the goal. So this is the lesson which is given by the poet in these lines. Then lines 7 and 8. Past cotton grass and moorland boulder, shoveling white steam over her shoulder. Past means crossed, passing. Moorland, open place or fenland. Boulder means large round rock or stone. Shoveling means emitting or throwing off. Explicit explanation. The night mail passes by the cotton fields, green grasslands, large rounded rocks. As she is a steam engine, so she throws off white steam over her shoulders, means by her sides, as she is using more force to climb up the rocks. And in these lines, you can see that poet has used the personification when poet is using the sides or shoulders of night mail. Implicit explanation. In these lines, again, poet gives us the message of determination, punctuality, regularity, and commitment. We also get the message that if one is consistent and steadfast, nothing can stop him to reach the destination. Lines 9 and 10. Snorting noisily, she passes silent miles of wind-bent grasses. Synonyms: snorting means whistling or rough noise, and the synonym of wind bent is bent down due to wind. Explicit explanation. In these lines, the poet has personified the night mail by using the word snorting. Now the train is running along her different routes. She is covering long distances as she passes through grass fields where the wind is blowing. We can also say that due to the fast speed of the train, when she passes through grassland, grass is bent. That's why the poet has used the phrase when wind bent grasses. Implicit explanation. The poet gives a message to the readers that only those people are successful in life who keep on doing hard work in the face of troubles and hardships consistently and constantly. They remain silent and let their success make the noise. Lines 11 and 12. Birds turn their heads as she approaches, stare from bushes at her blank-faced coaches. Synonyms: approach, reach or arrive. Stare means watch closely or gaze. Blank-faced means empty or vacant. Coaches means carriages or compartments. Explicit explanation. In these lines, the poet describes the effect of train on birds sitting in the branches of trees and their reaction. When the train passes through areas where there are trees, birds just turn their heads and stare, which is an expression of surprise at the empty compartments of the night mail, as she is mail train and there are no passengers sitting in the train. Lines 13 and 14. Sheepdogs cannot turn her course, they slumber on with paws across. Turn means change. Slumber is doze or nap. Course means path or track. And the synonym of paws is clawed foot. Explicit explanation. The poet in these lines depicts the presence of sheepdogs which are there on the farms to guard the sheep. Now sheepdogs are the dogs which are there on the farms in order to protect or guard the sheep. Dogs are habitual of night mail passing from that route. That's why they don't run after her, as they know that they cannot change the path of train and it is useless to run after her. Learners, here I would like to tell you a very interesting thing, that it's a matter of common observation that dogs run after vehicles like cars or bikes, as it is their nature and they change the path of vehicles for a little while. But as far as route of night mail is concerned, the sheepdogs know that they cannot change her path. That's why they do not chase her. As it is a fixed railway track, so they don't chase her and keep on taking rest with their paws spread across. Implicit explanation of these lines is the poet wants to give us a message that if a person is determined to reach his goal and is constantly following his path with perseverance, he is least bothered about what is going on in his surroundings till he reaches his destination finally. Lines 15 and 16, and these are the last lines of the poem. In the farm she passes, no one wakes, but a jug in a bedroom gently shakes. Synonyms are wake means get up, awake or rise, shake means tremble or quiver, and gently means lightly or mildly. Explicit explanation. W.H. Auden says that night mail does not disturb the life of the surroundings from where she passes, as everyone has become habitual of her routine. People keep on enjoying their peaceful sleep as they are habitual of her noise. Only a jug, which is a non-living thing, in the room just shakes because of the vibration produced when night mail passes from the farm. So dear learners, this is all about the explanation, and the implicit explanation of the last lines is that the poet conveys a message that one who is punctual, regular, committed to his purpose like the night mail keeps on continuing his journey without interfering the lives of others till he embraces his set goal. So now coming towards the artistic qualities of this poem, personification. First of all, personification, it is a figure of speech giving the attributes of living beings to non-living things. Nightmare has been personified when she snorts, throws steam over her shoulders. Pronouns she and her have been used for night mail, thus telling us the train night mail has been personified by the poet. Then imagery, use of images to create a picture in mind touching five senses, that is sight, auditory means hearing, taste, smell and touch. A lot of images have been used by the poet, for example, moorland boulder, wind-bent grasses, and all these images just create a picture in our mind. Snorting is an auditory image because it touches our sense of hearing. Questions which will be there from this poem. Short question answers. They will be in subjective paper, and MCQs and synonyms are in objective paper. Examples of these questions. First of all, short question answers. This is an example of this short question answer. What does night mail bring for people? Night mail brings letters, checks, and postal orders for people. MCQs, sheepdogs cannot turn her dash. Four options will be given there: speed, direction, course, and goal. The right answer is course. So it is sheepdogs cannot turn her course. So this is all about the explanation of the poem Night Mail. We have discussed the synonyms also, and I've told you that which type of questions will be there from this part of the paper or your syllabus. So dear learners, like and share my video lesson, subscribe my channel, press the bell icon to get the notifications for the new uploaded video lessons. Do comment below if you have any query, question or suggestion. So this is all about it. Take care of yourself.